Welcome to the Spotlight panel. I'm Ngozi Ukazu. I'm Johanna Draper Carlson. I run the longest running independent comic review website on the internet, comicsworthreading.com, 25 years old. Yes, somebody's talking about it. And this is about you. So, quick rundown of your career, which everybody probably knows. Check Please. Debuted in 2013. The award-winning Ignatz Harvey, other awards, and then there was kind of a gap. Well, you know.
The pandemic?
But you did both Barda and Bunt in 2024. And then this year you have Flip debuting at this show.
Yes.
Yes. This is Spotlight. There are copies for sale. Special permission to sell it early and get it before your friends. And then next year you have Orion, which we'll talk about later.
Yes.
So, let's see if I can make this work. Somebody send me a button? It didn't do anything.
Maybe the top.
Oh, no, maybe the side one. Oh, there we go.
Oh,
there we go.
Oh.
Yeah, we're going to start talking about Check Please. Yes.
Look at those guys.
So, this was still the most funded comics Kickstarter ever?
No.
No.
I think the Ava's Demon Lady person. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people are like, no. Yeah. We're kind of like going like neck to neck. It's like every time they do a Kickstarter, I'm like, okay, and then I do a Kickstarter, and I'm like, okay. So yeah, I'm just high-fiving.
Well, you know, certainly top two is
Yes.
just needs that. So,
I'm very.
how do you deal with your first major project being so successful?
Yeah, and every project afterwards will be a failure. I think I don't know, it's just, I'm really grateful that's the number one thing that people kind of got Check Please, because I remember starting it in grad school and we would have Editors Day where editors from different publishers would come to see what the students were working on. And I just remember editors being like, okay, so it's about baking, and I'm like, yes, but it's about hockey, and I'm like, yes, but the boys kiss, and I'm like, yes. And they're like, I don't know how to market this, and I'm like, and so it was easy to like put it on Tumblr and have people gravitate towards it, and that's why like I'm truly grateful that it was able to build a following that way. So. And technically, it's not my like first project. Woo. There's a webcomic that I started in college called The Closet Story about a magical closet at the bottom of a cafe that if you put a book into the shelf of the closet and close the door and open the door, the author of the book would be standing there at the age they were when they finished the book. And they like put an Oscar Wilde book in there, and for whatever reason, he like gets stuck.
Amazing.
Yeah, like I mean, I never finished it, so.
Please do.
Yeah, maybe one day. One day.
No, well, I was going to say, because have you had reaction to that? Because you know, usually it's a story of you do your mini comics, you do your maybe anthology, you do your smaller projects, you work up to it, and you seem to have just kind of burst on the scene.
Jazz hands. I really think that I've had actually a pretty long internet presence, starting with like the Star Trek fandom. I was posting, yeah, there's Trekkies in here. I just been posting a lot of fan art for years and lots of fan comics. Like there's this one fan comic that I posted, I think it's like in high school, maybe college. It's about Aang making a betrothal necklace for Katara. And he's really bad at he's really bad at it. He's freaking out because I think it's like due the next day. He's going to propose, and I think more people have seen that than like most of my other comics. And that was before Check Please.
Okay. So let's talk some about. Did it work again? No. I will figure.
Maybe
out
you have to point it in a certain direction.
There you go. That's it. You know, y'all are blocking all the waves. All right. So let's talk about Bunt, because I think this is kind of overlooked. And it's your only work so far with a separate artist.
Yes.
Could you talk more about why and how did y'all work together? And
so that separate artist is Madeline Rupert, who is here. Table W. Oh, can you like go up to her and woo? I think she's like right there spatially, maybe like right there. She's not dead. She's like we're underneath.
We're in the basement.
Yes. Long live Madeline Rupert. So I think we're table W83, maybe. Yep. Please go by and say hi. So the reason I'm hyping up Madeline so much is because Madeline illustrated this book, Blunt. Blunt is the story, if you guys know or don't know, it's the story of students at an art school who have to win one game of softball in order to get athletic scholarships. Yeah, you're laughing because if you draw, you're like, I can't. Hand-eye coordination. And Madeline and I met in art school. We became best friends in art school. I was a bridesmaid at her wedding. And the story really was birthed from me being like, man, it's crazy how expensive art school is. I really feel like our school in particular, SCAD, took advantage of students with a very interesting tuition. And but at the end of the day, we both realized that like it is about the friends you make along the way. Art school so much is about like discovering who you are and discovering people with similar passions. So when we graduated, we're like, let's make a book together, and that book was fun. Also, Madeline played travel softball for like 7 years. Wow. So there were pages in the script where I was just like, go nuts, Mad. And she went nuts.
Well, this is actually my favorite because I think it's really important for people to talk about. There's this perception that you're not a true artist unless it's all you do as a career, and there are other ways to do comics, especially where people do, and art school being a ripoff, it's like, make sure you know why you're going, because it is expensive.
It is quite
Starting
expensive.
with debt is a hard thing.
Starting with debt is a hard thing, and that is kind of like the pill and the peanut butter of this story. Like, it's a fun, like, sports romp, but you kind of, if someone is in high school and doesn't know anything about loans, they'll read this and be like, maybe I shouldn't take $100,000 in loans to draw like Homestuck fan art or whatever. So, no, you can. You can do that for free.
Okay. Next we have Barda. Barda, you did superhero work.
Oh my god, so yeah, I can't believe DC let me do this.
How did that come about?
Okay, so I first worked on an anthology, Harley Quinn number 75. I got to do 4 pages in that anthology, and afterwards I looked at my agent and I was like, I wonder if I could do some more of this. And me and my agent, we pitched to DC 3 ideas, and they actually took a different one, but we went to this is all during the pandemic, so we didn't actually form a huddle. I was on the phone. And I was just like, I think I actually just want to work on Barda. I love Jack Kirby's stuff, and I think this is a story that would be perfect for YA. So we went back. The kind of insane balls, I don't know, me and Chelsea, my agent, were like, we want to do Barda or nothing at all. DC was like, okay, we don't care what I'm just doing. We lucked out. So
what was the other one they chose?
Oh, they chose a story, and I feel like I'm just pitching story after story. They chose a story of Daily Planet junior reporter. There's this girl named Erica Evans who's a teen from Gotham, and she's like, I can't wait, I got an internship. I'm gonna work with Lois Lane. She is so cool. I hate Metropolis, but I'm gonna do a great job. And then the day she gets there, she finds that Lois is going to be gone for the summer because she's going to be doing some crazy report in Europe, and she's stuck with Clark Kent. And she's like, "Oh, this is a loser." And so the entire story is her being like, "Why doesn't Superman help certain communities in Metropolis?" And Clark's like, "Well, maybe he doesn't need to interfere with that." And she's like, "Shut up, Clark." So that's what we wanted that story. And I was like, that's a lot of work. I don't want to do that.
Sounds great though.
Yeah, it's fun.
So you said you were a New Gods fan.
I became a New Gods fan. I think I was always a fan of Mr. Miracle and Barda because of Justice League International, which is oh my gosh, yes.
You're talking
Giffen, DeMatteis, and Maguire, which just saying their last names. Those books made me realize like what comics could be. And as I was studying, it really was study, like New Gods, Mr. Miracle, and Forever People. I became like super brainwashed for Jack Kirby. Like that, he's my guy. Like he's really cool. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's well enough that you're going to do another book.
Yes, I have a sequel to Barda out next year. It's about Orion.
Do you want to say more about it?
I mean, I feel like at a certain point, maybe I should be like rocking the boat. I don't know. Orion is misunderstood. No one gets him but me and Walt Simonson. Maybe just Walt Simonson. But I really think that, I think like Orion as a character he's pretty straightforward. He's just, you know, the embodiment of violence against fascism. Like, duh. And I think that people writing him as cruel or even like impetuous, like just, it's not true to his character, I feel. But I'm glad that DC let me write a whole book. Like, I don't know how they looked at Check Please and were like, oh yeah, you could write the most like rageful character in DC Comics.
You know, hockey players have that reputation.
That's it.
Into the boards
Exactly.
or whatever. Yeah. So the Barda kind of has this, you know, forbidden love story, right? She's not supposed to love you. Is there a theme to Orion that you want to share with us?
So the first line of Barda is, "We do not speak of love on Apocalypse," and it's Barda, and it's a refrain that is seen throughout the book, where Barda is almost like repeating like the thought terminating phrase that she's been taught. And as she finally meets her, spoilers, husband, I mean, like, I think they're like married immediately in the comics. She meets Scott, who will be the love of her life. She tries to say that to herself over and over again, but she just doesn't believe it because she immediately meets Scott Free, the embodiment of hope. So love and beauty are the themes of Barda. And I think the first words of Orion are just rage, and then the second word is rage. But he's a nice guy. Yeah, I mean.
Yes. All right, so moving on to why people are here probably is your new book.
Oh my gosh.
So,
I'm so excited to talk about this book.
well, perhaps you should summarize it for people or introduce them.
Yes, so if you don't know about Flip, despite me tweeting, well, no longer tweeting, blue skying, what do they call blue? It's called skeeting. That's not what it's called. We're not calling it skeeting. We're not the yin yang twins. Someone's cracking up over there. So I've been talking. Oh, I'm so sorry. I've been talking about this book incessantly, so forgive me for being. I like self-promotion, but Flip is the story of a scholarship student at an elite private school in Houston, Texas, who switches bodies with her crush. So Chichi Ike is this very nerdy first-generation kid at this private school in Houston, Texas. She loves K-pop. She's a humongous nerd. And she has a crush on the most popular boy at school, who has fallen from grace a little bit since his dad went to jail for corporate fraud. And so she's like, okay, well, Flip's stock is low. I'm gonna ask him to prom. And she does that through a promposal video. Unfortunately, he opens it in front of her entire class and says no in front of her entire class. And then the next day she wakes up in his body and he wakes up in hers. His name is Flip. The book's called Flip. It's about flipping. So, yeah, that's the book.
What spurred this idea, or what's the background?
Yeah, so the inspiration for Flip, a little bit true to life. There was a time when I asked a boy out and he avoided me for like a week. Yeah, I recovered, I'm fine. But it really came from the inspiration came from the fact that I am a first generation kid. I was a scholarship kid at Yale, with richest kids in America. And I often felt invisible for some reason. I felt really invisible. And I internalized that feeling of like, is there something wrong with me? Am I not enough? So Flip comes from a series of questions, just asking, why did I feel invisible as a teen? What made me feel that way? Why did I want the attention of specifically like skinny little white boys? I don't know. But I answer that question and many other questions with Flip, kind of figuring out for Chi-Chi, like, how come she doesn't realize that she's amazing? She's this character that struggles with self-worth. And each scene is her either confronting that or overcoming that.
Mm-hmm.
So that is it's a love story, and that she falls in love with herself. So I have a lot of people asking, like, oh my God, are they gonna get together in the end? No, they're not.
I actually had trouble reading it because I didn't think she was that. I mean, I thought she was. The fact that she could put together an amazing video overnight, I was like, well, I can't do that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So yeah, it's neat that I think we see her a little bit differently than she sees herself.
I think everyone sees Chi-Chi and they're like, this kid's like really talented.
Mm-hmm.
And then she kind of is like, I'm a weird nerd. And I'm sure everyone in the room has had that feeling where someone's like, your best friends are like, you're so cool, I love you, you're so kind. But then when you're by yourself, you get those negative self-talk. There's a moment in the book that apparently makes people cry, and it's that moment where you kind of realize, like, oh, I am quite mean to myself. So watch out for that. But that is the heart of the book, and it's why I really want like teens to read it, especially if it's for any people of any age. But when you're a teenager, I think you can be the most vicious to yourself sometimes.
I think it's also one of those books that if you read it at different points, you're going to find different things in it.
I think so.
Yeah, it'll resonate.
I think so, yeah.
One thing I did want to talk about is I found it really impressive how you could only do this story the way you did it in comics, because you know who's in which body because her eyes are brown and his eyes are blue, and you change the eye colors, and then you've also got the mask shown on the cover, metaphor.
Yes.
So could you talk more about that artistically?
Yeah, I think it can be confusing sometimes who's in each body, like whose body is in whose whatever, but I wanted to have as many visual devices to make it clear to the reader, like, this is who is talking. And I mean, obviously this book doesn't have any of the same themes, but it kind of hints to like when you think of like Mouse, you think of like the masks. But the visual element of Chi-Chi having blue eyes, or her body having blue eyes, also ties into The Bluest Eye as well, which was a book, I started this book and then I read The Bluest Eye, and I was like, oh man. I mean, I think Toni Morrison is dealing with like a lot like deeper, darker themes than this book, but at the core, and it's what I wrote in the author's note, the core is like, yeah, there's, for whatever reason, sometimes people don't have access to their own self-worth. Like, what does that happen? And also the blue eye can literally be the white gaze that it has been destructive to so many people, including white people. And I wanted to have that on the cover, both because it's a little strange, but also I wanted to kind of hint at what this book is about. I've gotten a lot of weird TikTok comments, like good weird, where people are like, why does she have blue eyes? And then I get to say like, so you noticed something strange, and then go into the book.
You said when we were talking about this earlier that your author's note is really important to you because you knew at the end what you wanted it to be.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so, I don't know if you guys have ever like worked on an essay or worked on a project, and when you're done, you're like, oh, now I know what I was trying to do. But that's what happened with the author's note. My agent, Chelsea Everly, who was an editor for years at Random House, I believe, was the one who suggested the author's note as this like final clarifying piece to make sure that the themes of the book were, very clear. And when I wrote the author's note, it all fell into place. Like, I didn't know why I made a lot of the decisions that I made in the book. Like, for example, Chi-Chi has, one of her mentors is her English teacher, who is a black man. And I never had a black male teacher from elementary school to college. And giving that to Chi-Chi, having her have an experience of like just a black man who she was not related to, and who just wanted to just saw her as a human being that was like a cool, intelligent person. I feel like I wish I had that growing up. Also, I had friends who were black when I was in high school, but they weren't in the same grade as I was. And I gave Chi-Chi 2 black friends who are also gonna go to Ivy League schools and like see her completely and who are also nerds. And it's all these decisions that I didn't realize I was making until the very end. And the author's note is like, oh, okay. It's like a little bit of a fix-it, you know?
Yeah. No, it's great. I mean, it is very helpful with something so dense and meaningful to have sort of, oh, she was, you know, this was important to her. It kind of adds a bonus.
Yeah.
I also really like the theme. I wrote it down as fandom saves.
Yes! You're in fandom.
Yeah, well, fandom literally saved my life. I'm Sherlockian, so during pandemic, it was like, yeah. So.
I tried to turn it on you, and you're okay.
Well, I mean, it's not about me, it's about you. But I think it's something that is a lot more, I will say, I think being older than you are by a substantial amount, it's something that I've really seen change for the positive in terms of acceptance of fandom.
I think that.
Especially comics fandom. You know, it used to be that comics were for kids and idiots. That was the perception.
That's so unfair.
Well, yeah, but
as a child and an idiot, I take offense to that.
But seeing it's more accepting to, you know, have your fandom on your t-shirt or whatever, and all the different kinds of fandoms we have. So, I admit, I don't know much about, she's a K-pop fan.
Yes.
So, and you were using a phrase, my bias, and I'm like, I hadn't heard that one before, but so yes, the age.
Yeah, I can't, K-pop is something, if I talk about it, I'm at 0 or 100, so I need to stay at 0. Yeah.
But how important was it for that to be part of the character?
This character is so autobiographical that if she weren't like fanish in some way, it just wouldn't feel true. Mm-hmm. And I feel her, I mean, I'm sure everyone, if you're here, you probably have like a little bit of fandom in you. Someone's like,
I'm just counting t-shirts.
Yeah. That feeling of like, you have your identity, but for whatever reason, the thing you like feels more like you than you, if that makes any sense. The way that she interacts with her K-pop band, BGBB, which does stand for Booster Gold Blue Beetle. That's just a secret for us. That's not what it means to her. It means like something different in Korean, but I was like, I'm gonna name them after, anyway. Those are my guys, but she feels like those boys in the band are truly like, they understand her more than anything. Mm-hmm. And I think she projects a lot of herself onto these K-pop stars, K-pop idols, and forgets who she is herself. And that's what I did pretty much all through high school too. I don't think I would like wanted to be aware of like my body or who I was. I was like, no, I'm gonna be reading Justice League International. I'm gonna be thinking about these characters. It could cause a little like dysmorphia, but I think luckily her fandom is what saves her, because her K-pop idol asks her, I won't spoil it, but asks in like a song, like, what would happen if you loved yourself for a little bit? And then Chi-Chi's like, oh. So it really does save her.
Well, I think it's more, for me it was also, you love fandom and it doesn't love you back. Yeah. But you will meet some amazing people.
Exactly.
And she and her friends sharing it, and then, you know, driving towards getting to the concert and all the kind of, can we do this together kind of thing was really inspirational and affecting.
That is so interesting that you say fandom doesn't love you back, and because it's true, but but our minds will trick us to being like, no, this is the thing that actually nourishes me. It's the people and the creativity and the connection. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's interesting, because the fandom I'm in, you've got the old stuff that it's gone and done and over with. And that's safe to love because you know what happens.
Yes.
But then you've also got aspects of people who are still alive, and that's really when you get the parasocial danger.
Yeah.
So, yes. Yeah, I've met the creator of my fandom, and I said some things and ran away. So I'll tell you more later.
Yeah, I'm like, which creator? There's quite a few people, but.
Yes. Anyway, so moving back, can you talk a little bit about how this fits in? I mean, things have gotten kind of dark in society. We need our escapism, but it's also kind of, it's important to engage with these themes. Was that a factor, or how did that relate to it?
It really wasn't, even though I wrote Flip in 2020 when everything was going down. And I think there was a bit of, I mean, no pun intended, a little bit of flippancy, because I was like, I don't care what other people are going to think. I don't care if this book is going to get banned. It's dealing with themes of not just race, but gender and socioeconomics, which make people so uncomfortable to talk about. And I don't know, I feel like it was important to shine a light on these themes and how this is a story of like two characters who walk in each other's shoes and then they get to know each other, but it's also about self-love. And at the end of the day, I don't know, it is about the humanity of everyone. Because like a character like Flip, I can imagine someone reading this book and being like, oh, so they're just going to say this white boy is privileged, this is so woke. But if someone reads the entire book, they will understand that like, I have such a great deal of sympathy for Flip, and he in turn has a great deal of sympathy for Chi-Chi. It's just this like, they meet each other like where they're at. So I don't know, I'm really interested in the discussions that will happen around this book. And I hope they're a little bit tense, but also very, forgiving and kind.
Yeah, I was impressed at how he's not just a plot device, that he has,
Yes.
I mean, certainly it's not his story, but he has a story.
Yes.
And he has things that make him more surprising, which I won't go into because, read the book. Anything else you want to say about Flip?
Anything else I want to say about Flip? Oh, yeah. I think because it's interesting going from Check Please to Flip, because I feel like when I was working on Check Please, I was designing it like for fandom. I wanted there to be ships. I wanted there to be like just lots of romance. And this book was fun in a different way, because I can't imagine like a big fandom growing up around it. I don't know, maybe that'll happen. But it really filled my creative needs in a completely different way. And I didn't know that I needed that. So yeah, kind of a vague answer, but
Cool, no. All right, let's see what we got next.
oh
What's
gosh.
up next? Dun, dun, dun.
I'm like a little tense for these things.
Oh, I see.
Okay, we have to talk about this really quickly. Oh god.
We talked a little bit about Ryan already.
Okay.
So yes, and you got that coming, you said next year.
Yeah, I completely like broke down for a second there.
I
No.
can't work the clicker.
No, you're doing fantastic. Yeah, Orion, I am really, really excited about. How many of you guys are like fourth world aware, fourth world fans? Okay, there's like one hand up. This is not good. Okay, if I could really pitch to you the fourth world, if I can do that, not for me, but for the memory of Jack Kirby. So we all know who Jack Kirby is, the guy who is not Stanley. No, that's not. I think their beef settled. I don't want to perpetuate that. But Jack Kirby, Captain America, Thor, Black Panther, Fantastic Four, pretty much any superhero that he's drawn or created. When he went to DC Comics, he was given free reign to do whatever he wanted. So he decided to basically create a theology that he was extremely passionate about. So he created the fourth world, which is if you have this planet, it's about two planets who are constantly at war. There is the first planet, which is this planet of like light and beauty, ruled by a very gracious, kind leader named the High Father. And then you have another planet called Apocalypse, which is ruled by a guy called Darkseid, who Darth Vader is based on. Yeah, like George Lucas didn't come up with that stuff. It was Jack Kirby. And in order for these planets to stop warring, they formed a pact, the Pact, where they switched two of their sons at birth. So High Father gave his son to Apocalypse, and Darkseid gave his son to New Genesis. So you have this like lovely, bright, bubbly boy who grew up on Apocalypse, which is basically hell. His name is Scott Free, mentioned him before. And then you have this emo, rage-filled beast who was born, who grew up on this planet of lights and love, and his name is Orion. So Orion is the story of a character who knows there's something wrong with him, doesn't know why, and when he finds out that he is the son of a cosmic tyrant, he goes into complete denial. He's just like, no, that's not me. I know I'm messed up, but I'm not that messed up. And then he spends the entire book slowly uncovering his past and then accepting that because he is like Darkseid, he is the one who will be able to defeat Darkseid. And it's been a joy to write this book because writing about male rage is a little boring, but specifying that his rage doesn't come from ego and doesn't come from, I don't really know how to, like, it's not like ego-based, it's not because he wants to, like, hurt people, it's just because he really despises injustice to his core.
Well, you've also got a nature-nurture debate in there,
exactly.
Right?
That is, I mean, that's the grand thesis of the fourth world. Like, and I mean, Kirby's thesis is it doesn't matter if you're good or bad or raised. It doesn't matter if you're born in a certain place or raised a certain way. If you believe in good and protecting others, you will come out victorious. So I'm for real brainwashed, but I've spent about 3 years working on this stuff. So
wow.
Yeah.
I was going to ask if you're going to do anything else for DC, but it sounds like that did not to go even near that.
I mean, I could say that like I would love to do a Scott-free book if we were to do another book. I think they have another book in the DC Young Readers line called Mr. Miracle already. So I would love to round it out, but we'll see, because I also am working on other stuff.
Yes,
so.
Yes. Well, and Ryan had the world's first iPod of the mother
yes,
box.
The mother box.
Yes. Computer that talks back to you.
Okay, really quickly, I have to talk about this. It's really embarrassing.
She's very excited about this.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, this book, I'm doing a serialized online novel. It's called John Rich and the Big Picture. It's my first novel. It is a bit of a practice novel, but I am so excited for you guys to read my writing. I'm going to put it on Tumblr and also start a newsletter. John Rich is the story of a 28-year-old cover artist for a very fancy New York magazine who has to draw a very famous action movie star who is obviously very gorgeous, but he can't draw him for some reason. And we get to see why. So, yeah, that's him. But I think
Kiss.
Of course they kiss. If you like Check Please, you will like this story.
All right, and here we go. What's up for Check Please?
Interesting. Someone went, oh my God. All I can say, there might be a little something coming. That's all I'll say. Okay,
And we're done.
Yeah, we're done.
We do have a chance for questions. There will be a microphone somewhere
I think in the aisles.
in the aisles. I don't know. I can't see the staff if they're gesturing it.
I don't think. Yeah, if you have a question, just speak up. I
Oh, here
guess.
we go.
Oh no, they're
Go
bringing
get
the
microphones, yes.
mics.
I think we finished early. We're good at what we do.
Good.
But
Well,
yes, here's all the places you can find her socials. My socials.
I know Joanna's
Yes.
socials. Okay.
Yes. And where she will be signing if you would like to get your book signed. So, yes.
Yeah. So if you have questions, feel free to.
Check.
We have a mic over here.
Yes. Or we can just like hang out. Come up with some stories.
Aha, we have a question. Yes, please.
Hi, thanks for the panel. My question is this is like an art question, but thanks. How do you do your artwork from like drawing to coloring and
How do I do my artwork from?
like drawing to coloring from beginning to end kind of?
Yeah. Let's see. My artwork, as much as I was like poo-pooing SCAD a little bit, the sequential art department at SCAD, I have a lot of reverence for. Those professors were very kind and knew exactly what they were doing. So my method for making art is very similar to like Madeline Rupert's method. It's very much like spending time with thumbnails and scripting, moving from thumbnails to pencils, pencils to inks, inks to flats, flats to coloring. If I could get, I could teach a whole class on each of those steps, but I think if I can get specific about one step, I would say learning to pencil really loosely and doing most of the drawing while inking. I think that's what makes for really dynamic inks that don't feel dead. Because I know a lot of people have problems where they're like, oh, I love my sketch, but when I ink it, it looks awful. You should try to ink a little bit more loosely. Yeah.
Hello, I have 2 questions if that's well, I see people behind me, so I'll just rejoin the line. My first question was about Flip and the main character Chi-Chi, because I wanted to ask a little bit about how her family influences her in the novel, because as someone else who's first-gen nerd and parents who very much don't understand like K-pop, anime, video games, I was wondering how that sort of influence and what it's like sort of like when she flips looking at that from the outside, where you see a family that's supportive on the outside, but when it comes to like the nerd stuff, there's still this disconnect.
Yeah, that's a great question. Chi-Chi's family plays a pretty big role. Even though she's at like a boarding school, she has to go home, I think once a month to go to church. And she's like the only person in school who has to do that. And yeah, her parents don't understand any of her interests. They're just like, okay, you just as long as you get good grades, we don't care. But I really wanted to make sure that her family was an important part of the story, because it's something that is a pretty big contrast with Flip's family. And I know I felt a little weird being like, okay, so my black character is going to have a lovely, warm family, and then my white character is going to have an evil family that's like in disarray. But it's actually based off of my time in high school. I had a friend whose dad did go to jail for like Enron. Do you guys remember Enron? Yeah. Yeah, you know how like the financial crisis started a little bit after that? It was this chick's dad. And she was, and like, she was really one of my friends. I should not make light of that, but she was really one of my friends, and she was like going through it when I felt like I had a lot of support from my family at that time, even though, you know, no family's perfect. And I just wanted to show that contrast, that like, my dad, for example, he still will look at a picture of Eric Biddle and go, oh, is that you? But he knows, he likes my comics. He doesn't get it, but he is supportive of it. Every single time, we'll be like, oh, it's you. I'll show him a picture of Chi-Chi, he'll be like, who's that? It's like closer to, I don't know, anyway. But yes, yeah, I hope that kind of answered your question.
Oh, hey, so I was curious, what made you decide to write John Rich as an online serial novel rather than a print novel?
Because it's my first novel and I'm not confident. No, really, I got sympathy. I think that I really want to write like a sci-fi. If you guys follow me on Tumblr, you know I'm always talking about solar trials. And yes, Hephaestus. I think that for this project, I really just wanted to serialize it. I also kind of missed like the serialized format of just like constantly posting and interacting with readers. So I was like, you know, I'm gonna write a first novel. Like, we'll see how it goes. I'm learning a lot. And yeah, I'll try to publish things later. Or I might not. I wrote my grad student thesis on multi-platform storytelling and online comics. And while serializing has like some definite cons, it does have a lot of pros, no pun intended. And I might return to that form of storytelling for my own original works. And if I keep doing work for like DC, I might, you know, just publish traditionally. So yeah. So cool you guys are asking about this OC of mine.
I just had a quick question because you mentioned about going to grad school and such like that. I was curious about your decision to go from undergrad to graduate school and how you feel about that back then and now.
Yeah, back then. Now I can say that it was a good decision. I met my best friends, I learned how to make comics, and it jump-started my career. I did not know any of that going in. I was stressed. When I was at Yale for undergrad, sophomore year was when I realized that I wanted to do art, and I didn't know what type of art, but I knew I just wanted to do art. And there was a period of time where I was just like, this is gonna sound bad, but I was just like, oh man, why did I go to Yale? I should have gone to Cal Arts. Like, oh, I'm so stupid. I regretted not going to an art school where I would have more training in terms of like draftsmanship and like painting, composition. And the decision to go to grad school was really specific. I wanted to learn how to draw, and I wanted to draw a lot. And I don't want to like promote SCAD, but the sequential art department at SCAD was all about making a lot of pages, just tons and tons and tons of pages. And that's really what informed the decision. Like, yeah, I can't even say. I applied for a ton of like internships that I did not get, and like a bunch of other things that I got rejected from. So yeah, that's why.
Hello.
School is what you make of it.
Yeah, but be warned of the financial costs as you read Bunt.
2 questions, very brief. First off, as one of the 10 people who actually read the Closet Story, is there...
Oh my God.
Is there any hope to see it being like reposted or preserved, or is it basically just lost? Which, fair enough.
It dies with you, my friend.
Okay.
What?
I quite enjoyed it, honestly. Secondly, I'm just kind of curious, is there any kind of artistic thing that you haven't done yet that you're most eager to do? Like any kind of genre you especially want to look at, any kind of, or even new like format or anything, or even new techniques or styles you most want to do?
That's a really good question. I'm not sure. I haven't really thought of. My big thing in my head, like my pie in the sky project is solar trials, and I would love to do that in like, even like, I don't know, I've been talking a lot about visual novels this weekend. It'd be cool to like do like a, what is it, like audiobook podcast, something. I don't know, just something that's not purely comics and not purely prose. So yeah, but in terms of genre, I mean, I guess Solar Trials will be sci-fi, but yeah, I'm not too much into like horror or like action. Maybe I'll just try to combine everything into this one project. Thank you for that startling question. Oh man, that was my juvenilia.
I was kind of curious about, I guess, like your planning process. Like, do you like start with characters or start with like things that you want to happen in the story? And do you go in with like a fully fleshed out plot, or is it more like kind of figuring it out along the way?
Do you know about like plotting and pantsing? Have you heard of that? I'm a plotter, so I spend a lot of time with my outline, like a lot of time. I spend a lot of time in my outlines and a lot of time thinking about character in terms of just like writing like little side stories or conversations that will never make it into the final story, but just to like further hone the character. But a lot of people do it differently. I keep mentioning Mad, but you should ask how Mad approaches things, because I think she just sits and thinks about things for like weeks and months and then just starts writing the story. Like, yeah, doesn't outline too much, I believe. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And I think this is the last question. Yes.
Yeah.
Back again.
It's me again. I actually love that you mentioned visual novels, because this builds into my next question for when you're creating stories and debating whether it should be in a comic or visual art form or more prose, and like how you approach the pros and cons to both. And the reason you asked, and I like that you mentioned visual novels, is that I'm a games writer, so I've done like a lot of writing. I've also like worked on storyboarding, and as I'm working on my own projects, I'm debating, do I want to like get an artist and do like a comic, because I draw really bad, but I'm really good at writing. And I was like, or should I do like more prose, because I feel like the visual elements help, but I also like writing.
So you're kind of asking like which direction you should lean in more. I would say, I mean, I encourage everyone to draw, because Mob Psycho guy, One Punch guy, like I really encourage people to draw because you can really get like if your idea is compelling enough, anybody like people will look at it no matter like how well it is drawn. But that could also be my bias towards art because like I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you should draw. I was originally going to say like it's up to you, whatever you feel like would be the best method, but pick up a pencil and see what happens. It could be really funny.
As a non-artist, I'm not very much an artist, I'm going to add that even if you're doing something that you're going to give to someone else, trying to break it down yourself and think about what you can actually put in a panel or a scene, because there are some things that you could easily describe that you can't do without a sequence of panels, and you need to think through that and know that. So
literally, that I think every writer should thumbnail. Yeah. Wow.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Sorry, one more?
One more. Okay.
Yeah, it's me again too. I was wondering if you had like some recommendations for other authors here or artists. Yes. Do you have any that you could tell us?
Okay, recommendations. Yes, Mad Rupert. Okay, so upstairs, again, not heaven, there's Mad Rupert, Yuko Oda, and Anath Hirsch, and then right down the way, you'll see Ru Shu. So we all kind of have the same manager, so it's a little bit of nepotism there, but like if you don't know about those, some of you might know all of them, but definitely check them out. Also, Rebecca Mock. If you might ask them if they have Sort by Kudos 1 and 2, which are my favorite zines of like all time. They are the funniest zines about. I think during the pandemic they got like super obsessed with like a very long novel on AO3. And then I'm trying to think of different authors that I am enjoying. Oh, this is like not almost kosher. Randy Clue, is he here? No, he's not. I'm giving him a portfolio review, but he made one of the like best comics that I've read this year. It's called Our Day. It's about 2 alligators who are in love. That's it. I'm literally like, is anything else happening in this? It's fantastic. So he's here. And then this is someone who's not here, but Heathcliff. Like the Heathcliff comics I've been reading a lot lately, and I love them so much. I'm not really a comic strip girly either, but they're really, the lore of Heathcliff is really fun to learn. Yeah.
Okay. I'll try that. Thank you very much for coming.